Greetings, everyone, and welcome to William Paterson University's virtual session for financial aid and student enrollment services. In a few moments, you'll hear from Michael Corso, the Director of Financial Aid, and Joanna Torres, the Director of Student Enrollment Services, which is your first stop for financial aid and billing. After each of their presentations, they'll be able to provide you with ways to contact them afterwards. We recognize that speaking with your financial aid counselor is a big deciding factor during your college decision-making process. And in order to ensure your privacy and confidentiality, we can't wait to speak with you privately afterwards. So without further ado, Mr. Michael Corso.
Good morning. Never before have we understood the importance of being prepared. Prepared in life in general, prepared in business, prepared in science, prepared in government. As you made your decision now to come to William Paterson, you want to be prepared how to finance your daughter or son's education or your own education. And we're here today to help you to prepare yourself to finance that education. So welcome to the Financial Aid and Student Enrollment Services presentation on how to be prepared. Our first slide right now shows you how to apply for financial aid. And hopefully everyone has done that already, although it's not too late to do that. Step one is to obtain your federal student aid ID, which allows you as the parent and the student to sign the FAFSA electronically. We only need one parent to sign, not both. And then you have the FAFSA website that you would go to, completing the 2020-2021 FAFSA. And then we list the items that you will need in order to complete the FAFSA. We have our school code there as well. Once you complete the FAFSA, New Jersey students are required to go to the New Jersey FAMS website. This is the state of New Jersey website where students then can register to see if they're eligible for state funding. The state of New Jersey will use information from the FAFSA to determine eligibility. But in order to complete the process, students must register at this website. The state may ask additional information from students and parents. So students should monitor this website. There will be checklists created after they complete the FAFSA, probably about a week to 10 days after the FAFSA is submitted. So students should go back often to check this website to make sure that everything is in order. Some students can receive up to $6,700 free from the state of New Jersey. Should you receive any mail from Quaker Bridge Plaza, Trenton, New Jersey, please save it, open, read it, and act upon it. Now to the heart of our matter. When students go to college, parents and students deal with costs, and they're broken into two sections: direct costs and indirect costs. Direct costs are what you pay directly to the university. For commuters, for example, that would be tuition and fees. For those who reside on campus, in addition to tuition and fees, it would be room and board. But there's indirect costs associated with going to college. For example, transportation or other expenses. For example, clothing or personal hygiene items. if someone's living at home, the government allows us to include room and board at home as part of our costs. Those are indirect costs that you never pay the university, but the government allows us to include them in the cost so that you have an overall idea of what it costs you in a 9-month period for your daughter or son to attend the university. Now, this is the financial college plan that your daughter or son would have received when they came to the college. For many students, they receive this in the mail, and for all students, this is on their WP account. They would log in and they can view this. This is an example of a student who is a commuter. In the top section, we see estimated cost of attendance and tuition and fees. And for a commuter, that is basically what you want to focus on, the tuition and fees. Now, these are estimated because the Board of Trustees has not finalized our tuition and fees for next year as yet. But it's a good estimate. And we're looking at $13,814 for tuition and fees for the full year. All the other costs there are indirect costs that you do not pay the university. The second section would be grants and scholarships. For example, this student would receive a $675 grant from the university. And then from the federal government, the Pell Grant, this student will receive $5,695. And then from the state of New Jersey, the student will receive $6,010. All of that money is free and does not need to be paid back. The next slide then shows a breakdown. Tuition and fees, minus the scholarship, minus the federal Pell Grant, minus the tag, shows the balance for the year of $1,434. So now we look at the bottom of our shopping sheet and we see the loan option. The student can receive the subsidized loan of $3,500. Subsidized means that the government pays the interest on the loan while the student's in school. The interest does not accrue or capitalize. In addition, if the student wants, they can also borrow another $2,000 of the unsubsidized loan. That loan, the interest is not covered by the government, so the interest begins to accrue and capitalize while the student's in school. But since this student only has a balance of about $1,434, they don't need to borrow all of that loan money. So this student may only wish to borrow about $1,434 in loans. Now, books are not included in this model. Some students pay about $1,600 for books a year. So the student may wish to borrow more than $1,434 to cover books. But as you can see, this student has most of their tuition and fees and books covered by this financial package. This view is of someone who lives on campus. So now we look at the tuition and fees, and we look at the housing and meals. The housing and meals are estimated to be $12,454. So we add together the $13,814 and the $12,454. And those are the direct costs that the family would have to be considering. And then we look at the grants and scholarships that the student is receiving. So the grants and scholarships for this student from the school is $4,000. From the federal Pell Grant is $6,345. And from the state of New Jersey is $6,770. So that's a total of $17,115 free that this student is receiving. So if we look at our chart, we take the $13,814 and add the $12,454. And then we subtract out the scholarship of $4,000. We subtract out the Pell Grant of $6,345. We subtract out the tag award of $6,770. And it leaves this family with a balance of $9,153. This is because they're living on campus. So now how do we finance that balance? Well, there's several ways. A family can go on an interest-free payment plan and divide that into 10 months and pay that off in 10 months. Or another option would be a combination of a payment plan and a plus loan. The student can also take out student loans and a plus loan. So if we look at, again, the student's eligibility to borrow loans, they can take out the $3,500 in the subsidized loan and the $2,000 in the unsubsidized loan. So if we add the two loans together, we reduce the balance to $3,653. So that makes a payment plan even more affordable over 10 months. And if the family can't afford that payment plan, then they can always do a plus loan. So as you can see, we worked this down from $9,153 to $3,653, which is quite affordable. And speaking of student loans, the student loans right now currently is 5.5%, but with the current situation in Washington, there's talk of the interest rate dropping to as low as 0% for students. And the plus loan is currently 7.6%, but that may also drop. How much can a student borrow while they're going to college? Well, as freshmen, they can borrow $3,500 a year as a freshman in the subsidized loan, and then $2,000 in the unsubsidized loan. As sophomores, $4,500, juniors and seniors, $5,500, and then each year, $2,000 in the unsubsidized loan. Student portal, this is our student portal. And in the section where it says financial aid and scholarships, this is where students can accept their loans. They can apply for financial aid. They can apply for summer financial aid. They can complete their New Jersey financial aid information there. So it's a very, very robust information. It's like Naviance on steroids. And there's many other areas that students will work on in their WB Connect student portal while they're here at the university. Students can also either work on campus or work off campus and be paid for it. This is part of our federal work-study program. The federal government gives every college a finite amount of money that we can use to help students during their education. So we have students who work in our offices, students who work also in local schools, they work at Habitat for Humanity, they work and they help our offices and they help local areas. And it's a great experience for them and they earn money in the meantime. We have workshops in late summer and early fall to help students determine if they're eligible for work study. The good news is if they're not eligible for federal work study, we also have an institutional work study program where the university has money set aside to help students, and they basically can work on campus and be paid. We don't have off-campus jobs for them, but they do work on campus and are paid the same amount as our federal work-study students. And they're paid the state minimum wage right now in the state of New Jersey. Students are selected from time to time for federal verification. So we work with students and families to complete this. We cannot award and disperse financial aid until this is completed. So let's work together. The university and students will work together to get this completed. We will mail letters to the families, and we will also email students. Speaking of emails, we only email to students William Paterson email account, because that is the secure email account that we email. So please make sure that a student checks their email account at least twice a week to check for any important emails, not only from William Paterson Financial Aid Department, but from other important departments as well. Given the current situation in our country, there may be special circumstances that arise in your family. If any of these happen to you in the course of your time at William Paterson, we are here to help you. The information on the FAFSA right now requires you to use your 2018 income, but your income in 2020 may change. And we will use your income in 2020 to help you get the best financial aid package you can get. So these are called special circumstances. And we are allowed to use our professional judgment to remove your 2018 income and replace it with your current 2020 income. So we are here to help you. At the end of this slide is our email address and our phone number. And on our webpage, there is a forms section, and it will have our special circumstances page where you can print that off, complete it, and one of our staff members will work with you to obtain the very best financial aid package we can give you based on this special circumstances. There's a lot going on in our world right now, in our country, and we're going to do the very best we can to assist you in financing your daughter or son's education during these very trying times. Here is our contact information. That's our website. That's the state site. This is the website for student enrollment services, our phone number, our email, and the portal site. Thank you for your attention. And now I turn it over to Director Joanna Torres of Student Enrollment Services.
Good morning. I wanted to say, first and foremost, I thank you so much. And we would have loved to have welcomed you on campus today. It is such a beautiful time of the year. My favorite is watching the flowers in bloom. The magnolia trees and the cherry blossoms are in their glory right now. But hopefully we will get to know you in person very soon. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Joanna Torres. I'm the Director of Student Enrollment Services. What we are is a one-stop shop. So most of our questions that you may have can be answered by our office. And most of the questions are related to financial aid, billing and payment, and academic records. I'm going to go step by step to kind of indicate to you and show you how we assist students and families during these various processes. I'm going to start with university records. Sometimes students may require an official transcript to either qualify for an outside scholarship or to qualify for employment. Students can pick up transcripts in person. We hand them same day. If they request them to be mailed, these are processed within 24 business hours. And we also have electronic transcripts now where students can email an official transcript directly to any employer or any organization or another institution if they're looking into a master's program, and they will get it within minutes. There are often times where sometimes we have to certify documents for either child care or health insurance or child support. We also are the office that will certify documents for you, and our normal turnaround time is, again, 24 business hours. How do we provide financial aid assistance? Well, Mike had indicated in the presentation prior to mine that some students are selected for verification. When students are selected for verification, they have to submit documents, and we are the office that will receive these documents. We will review them. We will make sure that all the signatures are in place. We will make sure that all the documentation is accurate, and we will submit them into financial aid for you for your file. Sometimes families require assistance with filling out a FAFSA or filling out the questions on New Jersey FAMS. So we also have a kiosk area in our front office where we sit down with our families and we help them through these processes. There are times when, during this time when there is an extreme need and students need to sit down and speak to their financial aid counselors about certain circumstances, and we also facilitate that process. So any questions that you may have will be directed to our office first, and dependent on the situation, we will then escalate it as needed. One of the main questions we get is, what are the tuition and fees for the upcoming year? Well, right now, as Mike mentioned before, our rates are not have not been set in place yet. The Board of Trustees has not determined the amounts as of yet. So typically the rates have not gone up any more than 1.5% in the past few years. So what we did is we did an estimation of what our rates are now and just added a 2%. And this is kind of an idea of what the tuition and fees are. So this is the rate per semester for a full-time undergraduate student in-state resident is $6,907 per semester. Mike's rates kind of indicated a full year of tuition, and I'm going to break it down for you by semester and what that looks like. So for a student who is a full-time student, $6,907, that is a flat rate between 12 and 19 credits. So if they're taking 15, 16, 17, 18, up to 19 credits, they're paying the same rate. So the more credits that you take, the more you're maximizing on that tuition rate. However, in order to kind of graduate within the 4-year mark, we are 120 credit school. You would need to take at least 15 credits every semester, so fall and spring, at least 15 credits to be able to get you to the 120 in 4 years. So at the end of your first semester, it'll be 30. At the end of your second year, it'll be 60. At the end of your third year, you'll have 90. And at the end of 4 years, then you'll have 120. New to this year coming up, we are also offering out-of-state students also a mirroring in-state rate. So the way that that works is you will see a charge of the $11,102 per semester. And then you're going to see a waiver or an offset on your financial aid award, which will reduce it down to the $6,907 rate. You do have to qualify, and all the determinations and all the criteria for that are located in the admissions website. And there's the criteria does change at the end of your first year. You do have to maintain a certain GPA requirement. So it's important for you to kind of familiarize yourself with that. But that's great news for all of us in the attempts to make ourselves more affordable. This is what the dorms rates are looking like. Typically, most of the students are paying the $3,646 for a double. And typically the meal plans are ranging around $2,168. There are cheaper plans. It all depends on the student's schedule and how often they're eating throughout the day. But this is kind of gives you an idea of what the rates are per semester. So one of the things that we do is that you typically create a worksheet for students when they meet with us in person. And since I'm not able to do that with you today, I figured I would share our worksheet with you. Mike's worksheet, again, kind of compared year over year. I'm breaking it down by semester. So what I'm doing now is to kind of give you a feel for the both dollar amounts. I'm just going to figure that this generic student decided to commute in the first semester in the fall and then decided to dorm in the spring. So that will give you an idea of what the charges and fees are for fall or per semester, so that way you can kind of get a breakdown of both. So in this scenario, the first semester, the student decided not to dorm, so the fees are going to be, the tuition and fees are going to be $6,907. Second semester, spring, student did decide to dorm, the tuition and fees are going to be $13,134. Again, please remember, these are estimated dollar amounts. These dollar amounts are going to probably be lesser than this. I kind of increased it slightly just to kind of give you a little bit more leeway. All freshman students are given that $5,500 a year loan, the breakdown of the $3,500 and the $2,000 for the subsidized and the unsubsidized that Mike explained earlier. So I've broken that down here. And if you realize, I put two little red number symbols there indicating these are loans. You must pay these back. For the purposes of this, I have included them so that I can give you what the breakdown is with the loans and without. In this sample student, I've indicated that they've received a Pell Grant, and I've broken out that Pell Grant between fall and spring. So $29.48 for fall, $29.47 for spring. The same for the TAG Award, $25.45 for fall, $25.45 for spring. And this particular sample student did have a trustee scholarship of $3,000 or $6,000 for the year, which is $3,000 for fall, $3,000 for spring. So all the awards that you are seeing on the college financing plan, just make sure that you are distributing the balances equally between fall and spring, and that you are not confusing that as a spring only or a fall only award. In this sample student, when they decided to dorm in the fall, when they decided not to dorm in the fall, they received all the aid and it was subtracted from the $6,907. If they opted to take their loans, they would have a refund due to them for $4,308. In this scenario, if they opted not to take any loans, they would have a credit due back to them for $1,586. Most students would use that credit for books or for other expenses that they may need for that semester. In the spring semester, this sample student decided to dorm. When we take the $13,143 and subtract all the financial aid that has been awarded to them, they would have an out-of-pocket balance of $1,920 with loans and an out-of-pocket balance of $4,642 without any loans. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a better picture in terms of how to use or utilize the financial aid package that you have received and compare that to your bills. So the billable amounts are included in this form, and this is what you need to kind of look at when you're receiving your financial aid award. Student health insurance. So given the certain climate that we're in, and given that many students unfortunately have been without health insurance, and we also, many of our programs, especially in the sciences and nursing, require students to be covered for clinicals, we will be automatically enrolling students into health insurance in the fall. This means that on your bill, you will receive an insurance charge for whatever that insurance is. If your student already is covered through health insurance, you can easily waive this. The waiver will be available on the student accounts website. They will send you a letter in the mail with this information. They will also send many various emails to the student email advising them to waive their health insurance. You will have opportunities also during the orientation presentations. We will be presenting links where you can be able to do that during your orientation. At this moment, we do not know what the rates are for the health insurance for next year. That is currently being decided, but we will have those rates when we also have the tuition rates. So I did want you to be aware of this because you will be required to waive the insurance, and as soon as it's waived, the charge will be removed. The registration and billing cycle. So it's important to know when you're going to be receiving bills. So right now, students are registering for the fall semester. As a freshman, the registrars will automatically register you for classes after all your testing has been completed. So, but currently right now, if for continuing students, students are registering for next year. They're also registering for summer. And what we're also doing is that we're allowing students to register for 2 semesters at a time. So students are able to register for both fall and winter. They'll receive their bill in July for fall, and they will receive their bill for winter in October. The reason why we're allowing 2 semesters at a time is so that the students can plan their schedules way in advance and be able to determine what classes they need. This allows them to graduate at a faster pace. In this registration for spring occurs in November, and that bill will be distributed at the end of November, and then the bill due date will be due in January. The same thing in the spring, they could register for both spring and summer. They will not receive their summer bill till March, and then that bill will be due mid-May. Students, we do not send out paper bills. Students are receiving the email with indicating that their bill is available, and they would have to log into their WP Connect account to view the actual bill. There is a way that students can provide parents with an authorized access, and parents will then also be able to access that billing and payment portal. I will explain in a little later in my presentation on how to do that. But the authorized users have a separate link to be able to view the bills, and this is the link here. It's wpunj.edu/ebill. The billing policy indicates that semester bills must be paid by the billing due date to secure classes. Being paid could mean a number of things. One, it could be being paid in full, covered by financial aid through loans or scholarships, or also enrolling into a payment plan. There are various types of payment plans. There are payment plans available online, and there's also payment plans that we also provide in our office, and I'll get into that in a little bit. We do drop students for non-payment. So if the account is not financially cleared through our office in any way, students will lose their class schedule, and then they would have to rebuild their class schedule within like a week or 2 before classes start. So it's important that we try to mitigate any issues that you may have and clear your account to prevent deregistration. So adhering to that billing due date is very important. Payment options. Right now, our offices are closed to visitors, so we're not accepting cash payments, but we hope to be able to resume our normal operations soon. So cash, we can be collected in person in our Morrison Hall building. And by the way, Morrison Hall building is right behind me in my landscape. We could send a check or a money order. Our lockbox and our mail is currently working, so you can mail it to our lockbox at the PO box listed here. And we also accept checks or money orders in person. It's very important that if you are sending a check, so always put your 855 number on the check. The lockbox is actually going directly into a bank, so the bank will not be able to deposit that check unless if there's an 855 number or student ID number attached to that check. Payments can be also made online. through your WP student portal. There's a billing and payment link, and I'll show you that in a minute. We do accept credit and debit cards. However, since we do not store credit card information on campus for security reasons, we do contract with a company who is specializing in that. So that company does charge a 2.85% convenience fee. I would suggest that if you are using a debit card, opt for the e-check option instead and get your account number and your routing number, and it'll be free and we see it right away. So that'll avoid you that additional 2.85% expense. We do receive many questions about students who are getting an outside scholarship and they're not sure. Right now, you might have some mini scholarships that you may have won through some sort of a selection process. So if the outside scholarship is made payable to the student can cash that check and then use it for their educational expenses as they need, whether it be buying a laptop or buying it for books or even paying their enrollment or housing deposits. If the check is made payable to William Paterson University, then you need to bring it to our office in Student Enrollment Services in Morrison Hall, because we have to stamp and endorse the back of the check and it has to be deposited through our office. If the check is made payable to both William Paterson University and the student has to endorse the back of the check, come into our office and give us the check, and we will then endorse it and deposit it. For all of the scenarios above, a receipt is provided, so you do not have to worry about that account or that check not being posted directly onto your student account. Some other families have contributed to a 529 college savings plan. Every college savings plan has a different criteria for disbursement. For me, my daughter had Franklin Templeton. All I had to do was call them, tell them how much I needed. They'd send the payment to me, and it was up to me to make sure that I paid it directly to the school. They also have the option of sending it directly to the school. You just need to know and make sure that the 855 number is directly on that check. Others, like Merrill Lynch, require a form of a statement, like an e-bill or a student statement or an account statement, to determine what the bill is so that they can then disperse appropriately. So my suggestion is it's best to contact the 529 plan and determine what their criteria is. There are sometimes some employers that will provide payment for a dependent student. I know some other universities, such as Columbia, parents who work for Columbia and have a student that is attending William Paterson, there is a disbursement that they do provide. So all we need is a letter of credit from that company or that organization indicating that we are receiving or they are awarding a specific dollar amount for the student. So it needs to be on a letterhead. It needs to have the contact person of the person awarding the scholarship so that we can reach out in case of any questions. And it needs to have the student's name and the dollar amount that we are expected to receive. And we will then provide credit for that and allow for you to pay the difference on the account. The tuition installment plans. So while Mike had indicated that we do have a 10-month payment plan, it really is two five-month payment plans, one for the fall and one for the spring. The reason being why we can't do one for the entire year is because you're not getting billed for the spring semester at the same time that you're getting billed for the fall semester. You're getting billed one semester at a time. So if you do want to enroll for the fall tuition installment plan and you want the 5-month installment plan, then we're going to have to start your payments in July. So you'll make a payment for July, a payment in July, then August 1st, September 1st, October 1st, and then November 1st. The reason why we're trying to end our payment plans and have you completed your payments in November is because in November is when the spring registration starts. Same thing for spring. If you wanted to take part of the spring installment plan into the 5-month payment plan, then you have to start in December, and then your following payments are going to be December, then January 1st, February 1st, March 1st, April 1st. You're done in April because then the registration for the next cycle begins. So if any of these payment plans that are available online are not suitable for you, I know many students cannot pay bills on the first of the month because their rent is due on the first of the month or their mortgage is due on the first of the month. We in Student Enrollment Services can change it to the 15th of the month. So instead of opting for one of the plans online, kindly contact our office and we will get you into the right plan that suits you. Authorized users, I mentioned this earlier, there is a way that students on their WP Connect portal through TouchNet can authorize parents to have access to e-statements and the e-billing portal. This does not give them access to the WP Connect, which is great because we do not want students to be locked out because of their password mismatches. So parents have their own portal that they could log in directly into the payment suite. Parents are able to log in with their own account information after the student authorizes them. And here they can get the 1098-T tax statements that they will need to file taxes. They will be able to view e-statements and make payments, and parents can also enroll into tuition installment plans. This does not provide access to grades or other confidential information on the student's account. And this is what the e-bill site looks like for the parents to log into. Once a student gives you access, you're going to receive a temporary passcode, and your login is your email with that temporary passcode and then you will update your passcode. This is where on the WP Connect portal, there are two sections that directly relate to our offices. One is the billing and payments, and the other one is the financial aid and scholarships. I wanted to highlight those two. There's many other things you can kind of do on WP Connect, but most importantly, I wanted to highlight at this moment, right now, enrollment and housing deposits are probably what you're going to be looking to do. So the link for the enrollment and housing deposits is right in the middle of our billing and payment section. Also, to view your financial aid awards and the statuses, it's right at the top of the financial aid and scholarship section. For the enrollment and housing deposits, as soon as you click into that link, it's going to bring you to this profile, and this profile is our payment suite. Here you would select the term, and you're going to select fall 2020, and you're going to have various options. Whether one fall 2020 to pay your enrollment deposit by e-check, or fall 2020 to pay your enrollment deposit by credit card, or fall 2020 housing deposit by e-check, or housing deposit by credit card. Again, if you're using a debit card, opt to get the routing number and checking account number and use the e-check version instead to avoid any additional fees. With student confidentiality, I just wanted to reinforce that just like HIPAA at doctor's offices, we have certain federal rights that we have to abide by, and the federal right is called FERPA. So unless if the student grants permission for us to talk to the parent or another third party, we will not be able to talk about or discuss financial aid information, billing information. There are times when I know that a parent is looking at a student's bill or student statement online, but because the authorization was not properly granted by the student, I'm unable to have a discussion with the parent about that information. So I did want to bring this up because this is something that comes up often, and I know that parents are the ones paying the bills, but it is a federal privacy act, and we have to abide by it. There are ways that the students can do it, and during orientation, we will then get into more specific details as to how students can authorize for the FERPA. Tuition insurance. This is different than the student health insurance. We have many athletes and many other students that have certain circumstances where they may not be able to complete a semester. So what we have done is we've partnered with GradGuard Tuition Insurance, and it's very reasonable. And if for any reason the student has to step out of the semester for a medical condition or an injury due to a sports injury, they would be guaranteed reimbursement on their tuition and fees because they've opted to purchase this insurance. So I would highly recommend that you take a look at it and see if this is something that you need. And you have until the day before the classes begin in order to enroll. So it's something that you can take a look at and then make a decision. And as long as you enroll into the tuition insurance before the first day of classes, your student will be covered. Important final thoughts: student email. All because of privacy and because of security reasons and the nature of our discussions, all of our communications are sent from Student Enrollment Services to the student's WPU email address, or from financial aid to the student's WP email address. We will not be emailing specific financial information to a personal email address, because we need to make sure that this information is only being delivered to the parties that we have provided an email address to. Also, deadlines. It's important for the student to become aware of the deadlines and the university policies. I indicated tuition insurance. Well, you have probably about 6 or 7 days from the beginning of the semester to receive 100% tuition refund if you decide to exit a course or for the semester in its entirety. After that, there are prorated amounts of tuition that are needed to be paid. So it's important that you do that for registration and for housing, so that you know what those deadlines are. This is our contact information. I'm Joanna Torres. Eva Reyes is the assistant director in my office at the moment. So what we are doing, because in the interest of privacy, and we are going to be available from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to be answering your specific questions that you may have regarding your specific financial aid award package. You can reach us through text at that 973-358-8994 number, or we're also available on chat at our wpunj.edu/center-SS. Mike's office will be available on their email, which is finaid@wpunj.edu. But you could also feel free to email us in student services as well. So these are the methods that you can reach us, and we will be available to assist you at your Accepted Student Day event from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I wanted to take a moment to say thank you for attending our presentation today. I know it's not the way that I would have wanted to have welcomed you, but I do want to wish all of you good health, and I hope that you stay safe and well during this time.
Thank you so much, Joanna and Michael. And to all of our students and families, enjoy the rest of the program. Bye-bye.